like a dreamer. Fly all over the world. Open your shell so the world can see. You're a beautiful pearl. Live your day like you mean it. And don't forget who you are. You're free to go anywhere. There's no distance too far. And I just can't get enough of your energy. I just can't get enough. You're the spark shining in the dark. Oh, 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 love.
Welcome to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville. It's a show like me. It's full of inspiration. It's a little edgy. It's raw, but it's very real. So welcome, and I'm excited for a wonderful hour ahead of you. So grab a glass of wine, a cup of coffee, and make sure you sit tight. We're going to have a lot of fun. I wanted to start with mitzvah time. So every episode we have a mitzvah time, and a mitzvah is a good deed for those of you who don't know. I challenge each and every one of you to do a mitzvah every day, to do something special for somebody, to do something nice, because in giving, we feel so good. We receive much more than we give. I want to share with you every week a little mitzvah that I did personally. This one happens to be with my daughter, and we happened to be driving around, and we saw a homeless man on the side of the road, and just, felt terrible. It was nighttime though, so we didn't stop, and we got on the highway, and we only lasted one exit. We got off. We went to the McDonald's. We bought him about $25 worth of food, great dollar menu, by the way, and we went back, and he was gone. He was gone. But we felt good that we tried to help this man. So that was something that we recently did. But that's a mitzvah. That's a good deed. So try and do something special for somebody and share with us. Now I want to talk about our giveaway. Every week we have a giveaway, and this week we have a phenomenal giveaway. Our guest, Dave McDonough with Champs Boxing Club in Danbury, Connecticut, along with AJ Galante, have offered 3 gifts. One is 1 month free membership at the club, which is an incredible gift. And the other 2 are 2 one-hour coaching lessons with Dave McDonough. So they are awesome gifts, and the only way to win is if you you have to comment first, like and share as much as you can. And the more times you share, then the more chances you have to win. So remember, comment, like, and share, and hopefully you'll find your name on Sunday on Facebook. Talk to you soon. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Silvermine at Home, a Connecticut-based non-medical home care agency servicing Connecticut and parts of New York. Silvermine caters to their clients' needs while offering peace of mind to their families so their loved one can age in place and live their best life possible. Call today to see how they can make a difference in you or your loved one's life. Our family caring for yours. Visit silvermineathome.com or call 203-228-5007.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville. Today we are honored with the guest, Dave McDonough with Champs Boxing Club in Danbury, Connecticut. And Dave. We're going to talk to Dave and ask Dave a whole bunch of questions. So, hi and welcome.
Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate you having us on here today.
I'm so happy you're here. I'm sorry AJ couldn't make it, but AJ Gallant, you're representing AJ Galante as well.
Yeah, he's the owner of our gym and does wonderful things for us. So unfortunately couldn't be here today, but
that's all right. I know you're going to share everything that the club does, and you guys do some really amazing things.
thank you.
So I can't wait till you tell everybody about it. But first, I want to start with a little bit about your history and talking about something maybe not everybody knows about, and something that hit your family pretty hard,
Right.
Huntington's disease. So if you could tell me a little bit about your history. I mean, when you got married, and how old were you, and how did you meet your wife?
Well, with the Huntington's disease, it affected our family. My wife had it, unfortunately, and it affected her family also because she had 2 siblings, and actually 3 siblings that had it, and her father. Look, in the beginning, like everybody else, everybody has some sort of prerequisite health. We're not thinking about that in the beginning.
Right.
Everything is, all happy. And when I met my wife, like everybody else, look, we had plans and stuff that we wanted to do and achieve together. We weren't really thinking about that. It was brought to light a little more as, once we got married and decided to have children, it was something that we needed to deal with. But still not really saying that, okay, we're here today, everybody's healthy, everybody's moving in a direction. You're not thinking about what's going to be in
Right.
10, 15, 20 years from now.
Right.
There's other diseases in people's families that come before them that might be handed down that you just don't live your life that way, I guess. You're aware of it, but
Right.
you're not really talking about the elephant in the room type of thing.
Right.
So, unfortunately, with the way this went, there were hard decisions to be made.
Right.
And, responsible decisions that, definitely at the time were hard, but in the bigger picture were helpful for our family.
Yeah.
So,
how long were you married before your wife was diagnosed?
we were only married a couple of years. We
So
were only
pretty
married
quick.
a couple of years. And, her getting diagnosed is like, how do you tell somebody to do that? I mean, this was a very difficult and a touchy situation. And look, this is something I really don't talk to with a lot of people, or a lot of people know, and that's just me. I'm a private
Right.
individual. But, it's now awareness has to be made of stuff going on with these diseases out there. And, my wife was a hard-working woman, had a good career, worked for General Reinsurance, and after the birth of our first daughter, Alexis, was like, she wanted to stay home, but she was an independent woman and she wanted to go back to work. So she's on the fence like everybody else.
Right.
It's like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? But the thing that came into play is, if she did not go back to work, would have lost any of her vested time with the company. So now you're playing like, okay, what if? What if she's diagnosed? What if she's not? So you're rolling the dice there, and it's like, my thought was, I knew what should be done, but I couldn't tell you what to do,
Right.
type of thing. I could say, okay, this is my opinion.
Yep.
Let's be practical, let's be real, but who wants that on their head to say, hey? But, we came to the decision that she did get tested, unfortunately was tested, that she did have the gene for Huntington's disease, but at that time was not showing any symptoms. I mean, she was just, in great shape, able to do everything,
Right.
that anybody else could do at that time, and which was a great thing because, when my children, were younger, she was able to, take care of them, be a big part of their life at that time, which, look, I was working, and wasn't home a lot, and that was a big part of, the base that you build your children with.
Absolutely.
They had that strong base right there that, someone was home, holding them accountable, being able to go to their things, talk to them and stuff like that, and, teach them and help them to grow into young women. So, that was a big important part at that time. So,
Yeah, no, it must have been very hard for your kids as well,
well, at that point they were young
right?
and they really didn't know other than, mom's home. They didn't know till later on, and then it's like, this is what's going on, and then they started to see certain changes. So
What did they see? What are some of the symptoms
well,
with
with
Huntington's
everything
disease?
with Huntington's, it from what I recall, it's an effect differently on each person. So you have your gait, which is your walking ability, speech can be slurred or difficulty swallowing, difficulty eating, movements, memory loss. I mean, variations of levels of stuff like that. So, the progression is not like you go from 0 to 100. It's a slow progression.
Right, right,
It's
right.
a slow progression in the beginning.
So how long did it take from the onset of
Whew.
the symptoms?
And my
When she
time
passed.
frame is bad. So
Yeah.
she was diagnosed in 98, and I would say, you're talking, I don't know, 15, 16 years,
Yeah.
over time,
Right,
till you really saw it at its height. In the beginning, you don't see much. It's like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then, slowly a little bit more starts to, eat away at you.
right.
So,
Do you know, I don't know too much about Huntington's disease, but do you know what the average age expectancy, I guess, is? Or, when people are typically diagnosed, is this more in adults, do you think? Or is
well,
this...
there's two levels. It's very rare in young children, first of
Okay.
all. So there is, when young children have it, it's very rare. Expectancy varies. I mean, there are cases for people depending on how bad it is,
Right,
in their late 40s to early 60s. Some, depending more, depending on the care, have lived, a longer, and
yeah.
it all depends on their physical being and where they're at with the disease, from what I understand.
Okay, all right. And then did you have a support network as you were going through all this? Because, I can imagine you were working full-time. I know you had some businesses
Yeah.
going, right? That kept you very busy.
We did. We had some friends. My mother-in-law, when people talk about their in-laws, my mother-in-law, this devastated her children. And she did not waver how she worked and managed and, helped with my children, helped with my wife, helped with the care. I can't say enough about it. And she was not a young woman. She was not a 40 or 50-year-old woman. Very, very strong. Mary was just like, and, the fact of being a grandmother to my children, that was very, that was, like, unbelievable.
This affected how many of her children? She had how many children?
She had, okay, so 4 of her children, 5, and she had 5.
So
5, so 4
four
of
out
them.
of 5. Wow.
2 girls, 2 boys had Huntington's.
And who was,
Her husband.
okay, the
her
carrier,
hus- or her-
okay.
yeah.
And he was affected by it also? Did he
Yes.
pass away from it?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, wow.
Yeah.
That hit the family hard.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did. That's a tough thing to deal with.
Yeah,
Especially on her part. It's just, and then to go through it with all of them.
right.
And then be involved. Like, she was involved with all of them and at some level of help and care and whatever.
Right.
Financially with some of them. It's just,
Quite a burden.
Yeah.
Tragedy. It's
Yeah, it is. It is a disease that a lot of people say, well, what is it? You know, it's in the neurological of Parkinson's, but it's not. Whereas Parkinson's can go into a sort of a remission and certain medication where it can be treated, you know,
Right.
over time. Whereas Huntington's isn't like that.
So how did you balance work and, you know, I mean, like I can imagine work, you're taking care of your wife as an amazing husband would. You're taking care of your children as an amazing father would. I mean, you're an amazing person. How did you find time for yourself? Did you,
don't
ever
think
find
about
time
that.
for yourself?
You don't think about that.
Right.
Come on. You're a parent.
True.
Okay?
That's true.
You're a parent. If you're looking for time,
Yeah,
then you don't have children.
that's true.
Because
Good point.
even with two healthy parents, right? You have two parents.
Yeah.
You know, if you have two children or one, you know, or multiple children, it's like, you know, between school activities,
Yeah.
doing, you know, whatever it is that you're doing, you really don't have much time for yourself as you're raising your
Right.
kids, and that's fine. You know, the fact of, I guess, getting to see your children grow and do things and progress and enjoying that time as you could, you know, it rolls. It's life. You deal with it. You know, you deal with it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. You know, yeah, it's like, you know, you have, you either can get up or you can lay down.
Yeah.
You pick.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? So like you lay down, everybody around you is going to lay down with you. They're going to crumble.
Exactly.
So you got to rise up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I come out of a generation where my parents were hardworking people. You know, I saw from examples of things in life, everybody's affected by something in life. Nobody's absolved. You know, my mother had breast cancer and I was 12. We did not know what it was. At that time, we did not have technology like today.
Right.
You know, I remember my mother going in the day before surgery and making sure that there were meals, all the clothes were cleaned, the house was cleaned, and everything else
Yeah.
for my father.
Yeah.
And, you know, and look, she was sick, but we did not miss a beat of life. And I was like, my theory is like, I can't let my kids be affected like this. You know, as much as it's going to affect them in a certain way, you know, they don't need to be caretakers. They need to worry about being kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you provided that childhood and
Yeah, we did. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, even, you know, like, look, my wife, you know, she was a big part of, like, doing this in the beginning. Like, I didn't, you know, look, I did what I did and she did what she
Yep.
did. We blended it together. It worked
Right.
together, you know what I mean? And, look, she was a great role model for my daughters growing up. And she set a good base.
Right.
So,
well, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be right back after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a minute.
TLC Senior Living Services. TLC's compassionate senior living specialists will assist you and your loved ones as you navigate these next steps in senior living. With years of experience in this industry, they know what to look for and they know the questions to ask. TLC Senior Living Services will help find the most suitable living situation, will help find additional financial resources, and assist with the entire process. Cindy Seville, owner and founder, treats her clients with TLC. Yes, tender love and care. After working for various assisted living communities, Cindy decided to offer her wealth of knowledge to all seniors and their families. Cindy takes her time with you. She listens to you. She helps take the confusion out of your search and treats each and every client like family. Make TLC Senior Living Services your first call. Find out more at tlcseniorlivingservices.com.
Welcome to Sunday Dinner with Chef Clemente. This is an all-new show about family cooking, Sunday dinner, things we did as a child, bringing back some memories and some tradition. This is how this dish was born. I'm going to show you that in just a couple of minutes. So, the trick with the meatballs too, when you fry them, you don't want to overcrowd the pan too much. A bit of drizzle Not too much of olive oil, right on top of that fish. So a little flour, a little egg. C'è luna, make somebody, everybody drink some wine. Prosciutto going. Pass them around, everybody eat a little bit. Come on.
You gotta dance.
Oh my God! Get together, go visit your mother, your sister, your cousin, bring some pastries, some food, get together, eat, drink, be happy. Who wants some linguine, clams, and pastries?
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville. We're going to continue talking with Dave McDonough with Champs Boxing Club. All right, Dave, tell me a little bit about your childhood. Where did you grow up? Where did you come from?
So I grew up in New York. I grew up in Mount Vernon, New York.
You're a New York boy. New
Yeah,
York,
yeah,
New
yeah.
York, coffee.
You know, like anybody else. I mean, we, you know, played sports, went to school. The world was a different place.
It was.
It was a total different place. There was less worries.
Yeah.
I mean, to kind of put it like I tell my kids and anybody else, everybody was on the same plane. You didn't know if this person had money or who didn't have money.
Right.
It was all, we were just kids out there growing up,
Right, right.
not worrying about, you know, phones and cars and clothes and everything else
Yeah,
like today.
yeah.
You know, we just wanted to go out and play ball and be out of the house, and that's it.
They were
So,
good times.
Yeah,
They were good
Yeah, yeah.
times. Healthier times, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
You know? So what got you into boxing? What was the progression? You know, when you were young, is this something that you thought to do?
Well,
Because-
my father was always, my father was a big boxing fan, and he could tell you about fights and fighters going back that people probably never heard of. So I was actually a baseball player my whole life. Played high school, played college baseball.
Oh, wow.
In those days,
Where'd you go to college?
I went to the University of North Texas.
Nice.
So in those days, there were no Planet Fitness stuff to train, and
Yeah.
you know, my father would send me to. He had a friend who had a gym, and they boxed, and he would do my training, and you know, a little bit of boxing and a little bit of training and my conditioning at that time, and you know, I always gravitated towards the sport, but you know, my first love was baseball. And, you know, going to school, my dad was a coach, and always my thought was to coach at some level. When I graduated college, you know, like everybody else, you fall in, you play softball, whatever, hardball, basketball, you're still young and you're still active, but it wasn't enough. It was not competitive enough anymore. I had my run, I did what I did, I was happy with that. So I started going to train in a Don Bosco Center in Portchester, and I was training with an old-time trainer.
What is it called, Don?
Don Bosco.
Okay.
It's a community center. They had boxing. So an old-time trainer, Jimmy Santangelo, was the trainer up there, and he was an old school trainer. And you know, I was going in there, and you know, eventually we kind of gravitated towards each other, and you know, he was working with me, and I mean, at this time I'm 27 years old,
Okay.
and he's like, well, why don't you fight in the gloves?
I need
Why
to
don't you-"
see a picture of you at 27.
Yeah. But, and I was like, Jimmy, I just started a business, and I was in better shape. I said, there's no way I can put my emphasis into this.
Yeah.
And my thought was like, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it all the way in. I'm not just going to do it and go get my head smashed in. And I wasn't very good either. So like, it was like, I was just, you know, I had heart and I had desire and I trained hard, but I had no talent. So it was like,
It's
like
honest.
I'm realistic. Like I'm not like saying, you know. So it was like, okay, we keep training, and then you know, keep going back and forth, and you know, I just continue to train and go to different gyms and meet different people at this time, and I'm working, and so I got that itch to be involved. But then I get married, my daughter's born, boxing takes a back seat, right? There's no, I'm
happens.
I'm
You
working,
get married and kids.
yeah, I'm working and everything else, and then after a while being in Connecticut, I met, I'm training again as I got my second daughter's born. Now I got to get back in the gym. I got to try to do something to get back into being in shape, maintaining, doing something for myself at this point, right?
Right.
I meet a fighter in Danbury, Finelli Feliz, who was a pro, and we become friendly. And, we're training, he's working with me, and we're training, and, he's talking to me about his situation, and this and that and everything, and I'm like, well, listen, I can see you got talent, I can, whatever. So he and I start working together. He introduces me to the professional end of boxing, where I'm able to travel with him, work with him.
That's exciting.
Meet people, learn the game.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for that, because, a lot of people start in this game and don't get to be at that level of where I was with him. And it was because of him that, I moved back into boxing, right? So, now I'm back in this. My kids are young still, right? And I'm working with a friend of mine, Pastor Ralph Farrat, in the Bronx.
I was going to ask you about him.
Yes. He had a gym, Cornerstone Boxing. Him and Eddie Acevedo, very big in the New York boxing scene. Most of the people will know who they are. So we had a gym on 152nd and Prospect. And we're training. And I had a middleweight that I was managing, and he was training, and we're working at it there. And, at that time, things are changing in my life with my wife and my children.
Right.
So I'm being, between work and everything, being torn. But the main kicker is, unfortunately, he had passed away. And, boxing stops. Excuse me one second.
Okay. That's when the pastor
Yeah.
passed. Okay.
So, and, he brought me into another end of the world of boxing and was a mentor of mine, and, great man.
Yeah.
So, he was a man who can talk to you about boxing and life and everything else. And,
Great
he had a
mentor.
hard life also, but was a great teacher, a great friend. So, that situation, my life is changing again, where I don't have time to dedicate to boxing.
Right.
You got to be around it, and you got to be in it, and you got to be in it full. Can't be halfway in.
Absolutely.
So, you're doing somebody injustice by, if you're working with them or trying to coach them, and you're there one day and can't be there 4 days, or whatever, So, plus my children were starting to go where, they had activities. I needed to be home also. So, and that was fine. And, for, I would say, another couple of years, I'm not in boxing. And then...
well, you had to do what you had to do.
Exactly. So it's not a bad thing.
No.
It's not a bad thing.
It filled
because
your life at a good, at the point where, you needed that at that time, and then you needed to really return your focus onto your family and your.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not,
Makes
and
sense.
and then fast forward to, Champs being open, which
We're going to talk about
yesterday was our 7-year
Ooh.
anniversary. Thank you to AJ.
Oh my God!
which
Congratulations,
a lot of
AJ.
So
Oh, that's exciting.
and
We're going to get into that one next.
okay.
All right, we're going to stop right there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Silvermine at Home, a Connecticut-based non-medical home care agency servicing Connecticut and parts of New York. Silvermine caters to their clients' needs while offering peace of mind to their families so their loved one can age in place and live their best life possible. Call today to see how they can make a difference in you or your loved one's life. Our family caring for yours. Visit silvermineathome.com or call 203-228-5007.
The Suki and Scott Show.
This is one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
It's musical. It's magical.
This is a sexy show. Someone's getting some action.
Now, these larger-than-life personalities are on an exciting new journey. The Suki and Scott Show is your one-stop destination for humor,
You like De Niro when Cape Fear. Counselor!
entertainment,
Jesse's girl.
wonderful,
Can you play with all the colors of the wind?
and optimism.
You guys have such amazing energy.
Let's laugh together.
We love him.
The Suki and Scott Show.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville. We are back here with Dave McDonough with Champs Boxing Club out of Danbury, Connecticut. Dave, I have some more questions for you.
Okay.
You work really hard at Champs Boxing Club. You work all day, every day. You go right to the gym, I know, and you're there, 7 days a week, basically?
Yeah, at least.
Just about. At least 7 days a week?
Yeah, if we're getting guys ready for fighting, it's at least 7 days.
Yeah, it's like 24/7.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare somebody for a fight? What are some, I know you go above and beyond. So what are some of the things that you do?
The first thing we do is we're handling numerous professionals out of Champs Boxing. All right, we have Omar Bordoy, who's 11-1,
Wow.
fighting April 9th in Schenectady, New York, fights for Star Boxing.
Wow.
We have Fly Mike Marshall, who just fought in Philadelphia last Thursday night, heavyweight. He is 6-3-1.
Oh, wow.
Vinny Carita out of Boston, who's 23-1
Oh,
with
my
22
goodness.
knockouts, cruiserweight.
Wow.
Who's the ABF?
22 knockouts?
He's the ABF champ of Mid-Atlantic right now. Jimmy Williams, who's the UBO international champ right now. He is fighting in Huntington on Joe DeGuardia's Star Boxing at the Paramount Theater March 18th. He is 18-6. And we have Troy Artist. I'm missing somebody else in there. No, I'll
Any
think
women?
about it. Not professionals. You know, we
Okay.
have Stephanie Moss, who's an amateur right now, working on. She is back in the gym, and we're excited to have her back. Myself and Benny Little, who's a 3-time world champion kickboxer, we handle the coaching of professionals and amateurs in there, and there's other people in there assisting. But preparation is, once we get a fight, we mark the opponent. We set up camp, which is usually 6 to 8 weeks, preferably 8. Our preparation is bringing in sparring to simulate who we're fighting, setting up the conditioning of the fighter. If we have to make weight, we need to make sure we're checking a weight.
Make weight is to gain weight?
No, to lose weight.
Oh, to lose
So
weight.
if we have a
Oh,
fighter,
okay.
so Omar Bordeaux.
Can you help me make weight?
Yeah. So we have Omar fighting at 140. We need to make sure, as the closer we're getting to the fight, he's on point with his weight.
What happens if they're not on point?
Well, in a professional level, if you're not on weight, it's going to cost you money. The bigger the fight, you're going to lose a lot of money.
Okay.
You could lose hundreds of thousands of dollars by being a pounder too over.
Oh, my God.
You can get stripped of a belt at the scale. So
Wow.
it is an important part. It's a
Yeah.
discipline. So we set that up. I do cook for my fighters, majority of them.
What do you cook?
So depending on, so I'll use Omar, who's he's
So you
also,
tailor this to each
he's also
fighter.
he's in tune of his body and what he needs. So we'll sit down and figure out. He knows how many calories he's going to take in and what he needs. Basically, it's a pretty bland. We'll do ground turkey, rice, carbs. We'll break their meals out into small meals throughout the day, so it's just convenient for them to eat. Some of the other guys, they'll have meal plans and stuff like that they purchase. But you know, a lot of our guys, they're working. Actually, all of them are working. They're not full-time fighters yet. They are at a professional level, but they hold jobs, and they have families. So their training is they're going to work. They're coming in to train. We're training early in the morning before they go to work. We're training late at night. We're working around a lot of obstacles with them. So Benny and I, and you know, Benny has a full-time job also. So it's not like, you know, we have to do this and around everybody else. If we have to go spar, like we'll come to Long Island. Like we've been out here in Belmore with Chris Algieri on Memorial Day.
Oh, wow.
Or we'll go to Brooklyn, or we'll go to Boston, wherever it is that we need to be.
Right.
Or guys will come to us, but it's always, you know, look, the preparation, what people see the fight, they don't see the preparation and the hours that go into that fight. Guys that are in the boxing business know that. Trainers, other fighters, they know what's entailed. So there's a lot of moving parts going, and then you're dealing with people's personalities too. You know, guys are married, they have children, they have girlfriends, you know, their life is going on while they're trying to get ready to fight. The closer the fight comes, everybody has a different, you know, some fighters don't want to be talked to, some fighters need to be talked to. You got to be half a psychologist to know how to, you know, get your fighter motivated, to pick him up, to hug him, to kick him in the butt at times. You got to know when all this stuff goes into play.
Right.
You know, the days of Rocky yelling at everybody and, you know, screaming, and those days, they work some, but there's a little more science to it.
You know, when we had spoken a while back, I remember you telling me some of this, and I thought, wow, you know, because when I thought of a coach, I just thought, oh, you know, you go to the gym and you coach, but the coaching goes far beyond the gym. You know, it does. I mean, cooking alone for your fighters.
But you know, you got to look at it this way: you're in the car with somebody, you're with somebody so long, you're building a bond with them. You have to know. And look, at the end of the day, you know, you have their life that you're putting them in the ring, and they know what it is. You know what it is.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that person's prepared physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Like, because, you know, I had a fighter who was fighting for a small regional title fight, and you know, 2 weeks before the fight was not doing what he was supposed to do. And Benny and I had some hard conversations, and you know, we decided to pull him out of the fight for a lot of reasons.
Right.
Which he wasn't happy, but I'll stand by my decision, and Benny will also. It was a good decision.
Yeah, yeah. No, it must have been a hard decision, but the right decision.
Exactly.
So you do a lot of programs, or you have some great programs going on, and I watch you guys. You know, I see you all over Instagram and you know, social media, and you even had me in the ring, and you exhausted me. I think it was what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
10 minutes. Oh my God, it was quite a workout. It's like an all-over body. So
yeah, I mean, that's, you know, it is, and you know, we're blessed with AJ, the owner of the gym. I mean, we have all the tools that we need to be successful there as coaches. And, you know, now that COVID's hopefully dying down a little bit more, we'll get back to where we were prior to COVID.
I will say, if anybody has not been there yet, you really should get there. Excellent gym. You feel it as soon as you walk in, the ambiance, you know, it's incredible. Some of the programs, though, that you offer, things that people would never expect, you know, like the Parkinson's. Tell me a little bit about that.
So the Parkinson class started where there was a documentary on Real Sports on HBO, and they have what's called Rocksteady Boxing, based out of Indiana. They started this training with Parkinson's and boxing correlation that it worked. Well, to be part of that, you have to be certified, and there's a fee. Okay. That's great. Some of the Parkinson's classes in these gyms, guys are charging. I wanted to do something because it's a little close to my heart. So AJ and I spoke and said, look, I'm going to do it on Sundays.
Yeah.
There's no charge. We
Right.
put it out there. We had some people coming in. I have one gentleman, Randall, who's been with me from the beginning, who's really benefited from it. And, we don't get a big response right now because COVID hit. We're expecting it to kick back up a little bit. But it is good. We work on basic skills tailored to each individual, reflexes, stuff that, will help them with their Parkinson's.
So you keep them moving, basically.
So Randall can actually do work in the ring.
Oh, wow.
He is boxed. He does pad work with me. He does his bag work, and yes. So we'll tailor it to, each individual as far as what
Right.
their symptoms are, like that. So,
That's amazing.
that
and
we
you've,
have.
and you've seen proven results. I
So,
mean, it
okay,
slows
Randall
down.
had went back to Yale, and there's been no progression in the
Wow.
last 2 years with him
Wow.
as far as his Parkinson's.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, we feel really good about that, and
And it's a free service.
it's a free service.
Unbelievable.
Free service. So we're not we do it. I do it basically Sunday morning.
Yeah.
9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. If anybody's interested, you can give the information
Absolutely.
out. Champs Boxing in Danbury, Connecticut.
Yeah.
We have that. We have our Youth Fighting Forward, which is a
gonna ask
nonprofit,
you, yes.
which is a nonprofit organization that was started and was very big prior to COVID. So we have the youth of Danbury who can come into the gym at free of charge. Prior to COVID, it was from 3 to 4:30. They have access to the gym. If any of the coaches are in there, some of the younger fighters who are mentors to these kids, we had a tutoring room prior to COVID.
Wow.
So if you were coming in and you had issues with any of your classes, we would set up tutors
Oh my
for
God.
you.
And this is all free.
All free.
Wow. How many kids did you have?
I mean,
In the program
in
at
the
one time?
program, I think prior to COVID, there had to be about 50, 60 kids.
Wow.
Not all in there at one time,
Right.
but, and,
That's amazing.
now coming back to COVID, AJ has been talking about, bringing this, now things are loosening up where, we could have some more activity, fundraisers. Eventually there is going to be a scholarship for Youth Fighting Forward in the Danbury area.
Nice.
We're working with Danbury baseball, Danbury youth basketball. We even had one of the trainers, Jeffrey Then, was going to one of the local middle schools twice a week, doing classes and for the kids there.
Wow. Well, if I can help in any way.
Yeah.
Actually, I would love to.
Appreciate
I
it.
would love to.
Yeah.
One last thing before we finish. Any upcoming fights that you want to?
So we
Wanna share?
have Jimmy Williams, like I said, fighting for a little regional belt at the Paramount Theater in Huntington under Joe DeGuardia Star Boxing. Jimmy Williams comes out of West Haven, Connecticut. He is 18-6 as a pro. He is fighting Tyrone James. It's going to be a very exciting night. We have Omar Bordoy Jr., who's 11-1, fighting
I
April 9th.
follow Omar.
Yep, he's fighting April 9th in Schenectady at the casino under Joe DeGuardia Star Boxing.
Awesome.
Pretty much that's it right now. We'll have some younger fighters. Hopefully Stephanie Moss will be fighting
Maybe you'll get
next
me up
month.
there.
Yeah, which we're excited about. So we have some exciting
Awesome.
stuff coming up.
Awesome, awesome. Well, if you guys have not, like I say, have not liked your Instagram, where is Champs Boxing? It's on Instagram. Is it on Facebook?
Yep. Champs Boxing's on Instagram and Facebook under Champs Boxing. We're 187 Liberty Street in Danbury. My tag on Instagram is Coach Dave _Champs Boxing, and I'm on Facebook as Dave McDonough. You could hit me up there, message me. You could hit Cindy up; she has my contacts.
Yeah.
What
Absolutely.
boxing is, not only for the fighter end of it, but we've had people of all walks of life coming in to train.
Well, it's great for weight loss and toning and all that
And you know
also.
what? We just did a great program over the winter with the Western Connecticut girls softball team, where we did their conditioning. So
Yeah.
we had 30 young ladies come in.
I saw
and
those.
it
Looked like
was-
so much fun.
It was, in the beginning, it was, but when they left, and we really hope that they have a great season. It was a good
They
experience.
look like they had a
Yeah.
blast because I
worked
saw
hard.
a lot of those videos.
They worked hard.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know,
Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, I have final thoughts. I end things with final thoughts. And I would love for you to give our final thoughts. And my question to you is this. You're a phenomenal coach, a phenomenal person. What would be the best piece of advice that you can give somebody that's struggling in life or, you know, has this challenge, you know, with something in their life? What's the best piece of advice you can give? Because you obviously are constantly inspiring so many people.
you want the hard one?
I
You want the hard?
I'll take the hard one, the easy
The hard
one.
one would be work hard or nobody cares.
Okay, there you go.
That's going to be the hard, but the realistic one is you have to get up every day. You have to get up every day and keep working. Nobody can teach hard. You either have it or you don't. And you know, everybody goes through something in life, but you have to get up and keep working. If you keep working, good things are going to happen for you. So.
Doors do open. Opportunities, yes. Great words of wisdom. Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here
Appreciate
today.
it.
And thank you for sharing your story. It's very inspirational.
I appreciate it. Thank
and
you very
I'm
much.
sure many will benefit.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you tune in next week and don't forget, make sure you comment, like, and share because the more shares you make, the greater chances you have of winning these amazing prizes. And don't forget, there are 2 one-hour sessions with our wonderful coach, Dave McDonough, with Champs Boxing Club in Danbury, Connecticut, and a 1-month free membership to the club. So comment, like, and share. The more you share, the more chances you have to win. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.
Live your life like a dreamer. Fly all over the world. Open yourself so the world